is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could?
Behold the majesty of the Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't DIllo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with DIllo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are continuing our Fall into Nostalgia series here with something that I guess has been an inside joke over the years. And we've like mentioned the why a couple of times, with a couple of examples. Much for the past 7.5 years, almost 8 years that we've been doing this podcast.
What is time?
We have said that anything before 1992,
Yeah.
that's the money to us. There are things that we accept that came after 1992. Boardwalk,
Yes.
Tower of Terror, etc., other things. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I guess, is a great
Sure.
example.
Yeah.
But mostly, when we're referencing things here on the podcast, they are mostly, probably, 1992 and before things.
Yeah. I feel like in 1992 is pretty prime time. Being much younger, I was only 10 years old. Frank was heading towards high school graduation, and I feel like it's a big streetmosphere time for us, and there's so much happening that we reference 92 a lot. And so why not do a whole episode dedicated to it?
I think that what's funny, thinking about this episode, is my brain immediately goes to the week-long summer trip of 1992, and not necessarily the January 1992 trip we also took, which I think was over the holiday weekend there. But as a precursor, as a setup, I kind of want to just paint a picture of, I like to talk about 1989 as like the greatest year of movies. But in terms of Disney-related theatrical releases, I want this overview to be provided for the context. For the context.
For the context, not the content.
And this is not just like Disney Animation. This is Hollywood Pictures. This is Touchstone. All the things that were part of that Disney umbrella in 1992. Movies that came out in 1992.
Okay.
I'm just gonna give the hits here. Newsies, April 10th. Sister Act, May 29th. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, July 17th. The sequel, which may or may not have been on the Herrick's Marquee on Long Island without the up. I'm just saying. Three Ninjas, you remember that one? August 7th. No, we don't remember that. October 2nd, The Mighty Ducks. November 8th, Aladdin. And December 11th, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, man, yeah.
So I use this as my first tangent because over the weekend, the Museum of Moving Image here in Queens, New York, was celebrating Jim Henson's birthday weekend, as it were.
Yep.
This is the second year in a row they kind of made a bigger deal out of it. We had Craig Shemin on the podcast last week talking about the Sam and Friends script book that is coming out imminently. And at the Museum of Moving Image, they had the 70 greatest Henson moments.
Right.
In not in order. It's hard to rank 70. It was all fan submitted. So a lot of fans submitted what they believed to be the 70 greatest Henson moments, and then they were curated by Craig and placed in a montage, so to speak, over an hour and a half of film. And I will say, probably because of the rights involved, no Muppet Vision mention, but I will say that Craig, I sat behind Craig in the theater, which is hilarious in its own right. I was like, oh, am I allowed to sit here? Should I be sitting here? But Craig did approach me and say, Hey, I'm sorry that not even 24 hours after I spoke with both of you did they announce The Muppet Show with Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Just in case. I'm getting into that 1992 dialect, everyone.
Yeah.
Get ready.
That's it.
With Sabrina Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
Jen, what were your thoughts about the Muppet Show announcement with Sabrina Carpenter?
I mean, again, much like we talked with Craig last week, we want more Muppets. We love them. We talked about how something like the Muppet Show can cover so many different types of generations because it's just a fun show. It's a variety show. You got the Muppets. Love it. Sabrina, aka for you Girl Meets World fans, Maya Hart, massive superstar at this point. And all over the place. And I think she will be great at bringing in like a new crowd and a new following that maybe would have dismissed the Muppets in the past, because I don't know if a younger generation has the appreciation for the Muppets unless they have parents like us to show them the way. So, she might be able to bring in a different audience, which would be great. But, I'm excited by any kind of new Muppet announcements.
Jeffers here at DIllo'sDizResort.com. That's our Patreon, with memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. DIllo'sDizResort.com. Mentioning it should have been Dua Lipa. Now, when I brought this up, to somebody in the workplace, and they were saying that Sabrina is very Muppety herself. So it's a good combo there to really potentially launch a project of this magnitude for the Muppet Show's 50th anniversary. So I think that's the first thing. And we touched on this a little bit last week with Craig, where, for us, I think you get excited about the project and then what will happen with the follow through. And I kind of ran through, just scrolling real quick. Disney purchased the Muppets officially in 2004. What projects have there been since then? And I think the 9-year-old just finished up watching the Jason Segel Muppets.
Yeah.
I think that movie and probably Haunted Mansion are the two that seemed like they were the closest thing to what people are hoping for here in the 21st century. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. No, I think so. And I think what you are talking about as well, which is something we talked to Craig about, which is something that Lewis is now mentioning in the chat, of, maybe we need to dillo the expectations with what does come out regarding Muppets, only because we get excited about things and sometimes the ideas stick and sometimes they don't. I would hope something like this sticks more if they kind of go with what they know does work and not stray from that too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because I think we should and should not dillo the expectations at the same time, because a lot of this has to do with the follow through. I really thought the Haunted Mansion, and now, I don't know if it was truly my thing, but I felt like a lot of people responded to it really well. But the lack of follow through, which I assume is in how many views and clicks and whatever it got on Disney Plus, was, the follow through wasn't there. And so that surprised me. I think the Jason Segel Muppets, I think anytime there's creative differences, I get it. And people want control, and who's getting control, and how much control, and how little control, and what you cannot do. That that's the nature of the business, I guess. But I think sometimes we're throwing things to the wall to see what sticks. But also, I think there's no follow through sometimes. Like even if it's not the greatest first go, I don't know if you abandon it right away. And I point to that ABC Muppet series, which was dead in the water from the first episode. Everyone was angry, and just barely right before or maybe it was after. I don't know. Social media was in the mix. But angry that Kermit and Piggy weren't together, didn't like the format, all these things where, yes, I too was angry about what I was seeing. But the later episodes got better. I was like, they're starting to find their footing. They're finding their way. And then the rug got pulled. Now, I get it can be expenses, and I'm sure, there's a lot of crew involved in a Muppety production of that magnitude.
Yeah.
But that to me is a great example of, it didn't start the right way, but they started figuring it out. They started doing things that were working. They started leaning on characters that seemingly had more of a connection to the time. And, I think go and look at, if I would say anything about that series, look to Sam Eagle's crush on Janice for all, like, just pay attention to that. And you see the glimpses and the hints and the things like that. So, do I think the series could have went on forever? No. But do I think they pulled the rug quicker than they should have? Yes.
I'm going to do a double tangent for just a moment. This is how I feel about you and Schitt's Creek. You pulled the rug too fast because you did not give it a chance and stick with it. So you need to go back to it. Okay. But back to the Muppets. I am always hopeful for anything that comes because I do want to see more of them and I do want more things and I do believe in the power of the Muppets. And, the Jason Segel Muppet movie is something that although the 8 and 11-year-old love like Muppet Vision 3D and Muppet Babies, that movie made them go, oh, we want to see some of the other Muppet movies and like kind of go down the rabbit hole a little bit where I don't know that had they started on the other side, would they have kept going with it? But that kind of got their foot in the door. So I'm always hopeful for the new, the fresher takes on the Muppets to see if maybe something does click and bring in more of an audience so that it can keep going.
I should have mentioned the Muppet Babies on Disney Plus there, the reboot, because I think that was another good example of, I think, I don't know how much more you could have done. They really expanded it out in a way that I thought worked, but I thought that was very true to at least the Muppet Babies,
Yeah.
There was a lot of Fraggle love over the weekend. Fraggle Rock, and which, the 9-year-old is like, what's this? And I was like, oh, do we need to go down a Fraggle Rock rabbit hole? And then I became torn between, they're both on Apple TV Plus, between the original series and the reboot. And I think I've only watched, speaking of only watching one episode of a series like Schitt's Creek, that the reboot, I only gave it one episode. And so I was like, maybe I have to go back and watch that myself. But I pulled up the first episode of Fraggle Rock ever, 1983. And, it has that vibe, that mellow vibe to it. And I'm like, I don't know if the 9-year-old is going to be able to be invested in this way, to where it just kind of takes its time and it establishes everything and lets you breathe a little bit in the scenes. And like, I don't know.
I mean, and it's everything in the 80s and 90s that you put on now and just how much slower everything was. Even the movies, right? You watch any 90s movies and you're like, yeah, this one's going to be awesome. And then you sit through the first 10 minutes where it's just opening credits and you're like, it's starting anytime. I'm like, wow, they really don't do this ever anymore.
Yeah.
It's just credits for a while.
It's amazing. And really, when I sat there for a moment and went, wow, Fraggle Rock is 14 years removed from like 68, 69 and that vibe.
Yeah.
And you go, no, it's 42 years later. Like, ooh, what's going on? And I'll make another reference there with our 1992 talk in a minute, only to say, there was a lot of sing-alongs at the Museum of Moving Image over the weekend. And they put up that Christmas Carol, when the Ghost of Christmas Present is singing, and I mean, people were so happy.
Yeah.
And I sit there, I laugh because I enjoy the movie way more now than I did back then, where I was still just devastated by the death
Yeah.
of Jim Henson and couldn't accept Kermit's voice in that movie. And now I look at that movie and I'm like, oh, it's so good. It's so pure Muppets still,
Yes.
even though I didn't think it was in
Yeah,
1992.
yeah, for sure.
So speaking of 1992,
Yeah.
that's what we're here to talk about. We did 2 trips that year. Like I said, one in January. It was I think a holiday weekend. It was into Martin Luther King Jr. weekend there. And then we did a week long in August. That was a beach club extravaganza where every afternoon was gloriousness at the beach club and the quiet pool. And all the things. Just to add here that I just want to share my screen for a moment to kind of lead into the first maybe topic of discussion. Let's see. We have this Disney nostalgia playlist on YouTube, and we have 3 1992 specific videos in there right now. As you can see the Ewok on my screen. You can see me sitting here at the ABC, what is now the ABC commissary.
Yes.
And after Superstar Television.
Yeah. With your Joey Tribbiani watch on, I think.
I got my I got my Joey Tribbiani watch on.
You were just on Superstar Television. How did it feel?
How did it feel? It was great. You know, the Stooges, I worked with the 3 Stooges. I was very impressed with
Gold, I
myself.
tell you. Gold.
And everything went
And
everything went well, you know.
I was in Superstar Television. If you don't know what Superstar Television was, and where the Frozen sing-along is now, you would go into that building and they would have different sets from TV shows, and you would get to star in those TV shows and scenes. You'd be picked out of the audience. So if it was Gilligan's Island, or if it's General Hospital, or if it was the Three Stooges in this particular case, in which in the Three Stooges you get the pie in the face at the end of the.
You had a pie thrown in your face.
I got a pie.
Had a pie thrown in your face. How did that feel?
And
Well,
what
contrary to you
I
believe, yes,
really
did get
wanted
a
to
pie
kind
in
of talk
my-
about was, Superstar Television, not around anymore, like the Backstage Studio Tour, like the Great Movie Ride, like the Monster Sound Show, all these original Disney MGM Studios attractions. If Superstar Television was still around, what scenes would you want to be in?
Oh, man.
What shows, what television series that exist currently should they have at Superstar Television?
During that time, it was General Hospital, right? Stooges. Was Golden Girls one?
I think Golden Girls, I think you're correct. I Love Lucy was one, the candy scene where they're shoving
yeah, the candy.
Yeah, in the mouth. That was a
Yeah.
big one. Those are probably the only ones I'm going to think of right now.
Chocolate, really, right?
What I say,
all
the
right, so
candy, the chocolates.
now-
Yeah.
Man, it's such a weird time because you have all the streaming shows are probably more popular than anything that's on TV. So if you think of like what's on ABC now, still General Hospital.
Right.
Maybe like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing. I
True.
don't know.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Modern Family
Modern
was on
Family.
for so long. It's not anymore, but it was on for so long. Maybe something there.
That's a good. I mean, I'm trying, and you're right. It would be probably more branded towards just ABC series now.
Right. I mean, if you go to Disney Plus, then do you bring in like The Mandalorian, and are you in a scene? Are you know,
Right.
I don't know what it could be now.
Yeah, you got all the Disney Plus series. You got ABC stuff. What's the what? Oh, I can't think of the name of the show. What was the crime show with Nathan Fillion before he was the Rookie? And he solved the mystery every week. He was the mystery writer, and it's just his name. It's Castle. Castle is his name.
Just his name.
Like Castle, I was thinking about like what
Yeah.
people were really into for a period of time. But
Yeah, and I feel like they also picked shows in different genres, right? So it wouldn't be like you wouldn't have like 2 comedies necessarily up there, I guess.
Lewis is here to say TV is not fun anymore. Dancing with the Stars would be on the list because they would make somebody do a dance, 100%.
That's true. Speaking of, did you watch the first episode? It's on right now as we speak. But
Oh,
did you see the first one yet?
I did watch the first episode. No, it's the second episode that's on right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the first one though over the weekend.
Yeah, you're voting for Topanga every week.
I mean, of course, obviously, it's a great cast this year. I mean, let's be real.
I know we get a lot into Dancing with the Stars here because it can be nostalgic and the 9-year-old is into it at the same time. But there's a lot of really good contestants this time.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh,
like with good first dances. I'm like, where are they going from here? I don't know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you kind of know, like every time you see the cast, you kind of know who's going to like, well, they're using you as the scapegoats for the first couple of weeks. But I mean, and maybe there's 2 of those, but usually there's a good handful of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like
would The Bachelor be? We think they would make you get a rose or be part of a rose ceremony?
yeah, that's funny. Maybe.
Can't do all reality shows though.
No.
That's the thing.
I know.
It's not, and that's I mean, we probably should have a offline with the resort about classic scenes in television of this century, not or the past 25 years, and not like the I Love Lucy scene. What scene are you comparing to that scene?
I don't even know. Would you put Lost in there?
Oh,
in a scene?
Lost would be a good one.
It was Grey's Anatomy on ABC?
Grey's Anatomy is you're not plugged in. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy is on ABC. That'd be up there.
I should know that from The Gray Area, the podcast that Angela and I did for about 3 episodes of that over on YouTube. You can probably still watch it. But
I think that's over on Angela's YouTube still. Yeah,
I think so.
Grey's Anatomy. That probably would be on the list. We should write down what the list is. It would actually be Lost would be a good one too. You get have someone dragged by the smoke monster.
Oh man!
Right, or just wrapped up so you see them get tossed around by the smoke monster in the. Yeah, that would be fun.
You have to press the buttons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to sit there and do that. I think that bring back Superstar Television. I'm saying it. Let's do it.
We've decided we want that back. Thank you.
Again, and it's branding, right? It's ABC branding. Just build a theater over in where the Backlot Express is. I know that's Lewis's favorite restaurant, quick service in the studios, but that's it. That's where you put it.
Can't you put it? I mean, can't you expand where they have? Listen, here's a bunch of tangents already happening. I don't know how much.
It's 1992 related. We're talking about Superstar Television.
But the sound effects area, what is that? I don't even know what it is.
It's a theater to show Mickey shorts. Yeah.
Is that what it is right now? It's not the you can't do the sound effects anymore. Only in 1992 could you do that?
No, that's not. I don't know what's in that lobby area, but that's what's in that theater. Yeah.
But I mean, that could be something because I feel like I don't know. Are a lot of people? And no judgment, but are a lot of people? I don't even know if people are going in and down there that much anymore. Right. I should go in there and be like, wow, look at this full theater that I.
Yeah, and speaking of the monster sound, didn't Martin Short do that? Oh, he did something in there originally, but you could do Hulu shows, so you could do Only Murders in the Building.
Yes. Yeah.
How many episodes into Only Murders in the Building are you?
We're caught up.
Oh, caught up. I got one more to go. Yeah. So the most recent one.
Yeah, because we had caught up right before the new one dropped, and then over the weekend we're like, "Has there been a new one?" And there was. So then I watched the first episode of the morning show as well. So just side note, but.
And the 4th season, which that was the one when they filmed the movie. Compared to the first 3 seasons, maybe less than. But I said this to Mrs. DIllo last night when we were watching. I love that they take whatever history you might know about New York buildings and things like that, and add context to it. So no spoilers, but if you didn't watch season 2 yet, spoiler. But the catacombs there behind the buildings and you got secret passageways and secret door. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I love that they kind of add some history that is true to New York in all of that in New York City, and. That's what gets me invested a lot is when it seems a little more grounded into New York.
Lewis is saying now it's Vacation Fun Shorts. The lobby has Potato Land and another photo op. Oh. Was sound dangerous?
Was it Sound Dangerous with Drew Carey for a while? Was that the Drew Carey one?
That's always in my head. I'm like, that's not still there? I don't know. What do I know? Interesting. But the lobby has potato. Oh, but that I've seen that. I didn't know where it was. There's a lot of things I think I don't know. But yeah, maybe that would be a place for Superstar Television.
Yep.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
The first 1992 thing we would like back is Superstar Television.
Correct.
How many more will there be on this the episode?
When I kind of scrolled quickly through the video today that we have from both our trips in 1992, which you will never see in full. Anyone ever. I mean, Jen has, but nobody else ever will. Why? Because clearly Frank was trying out like being a funny guy and finding his performer voice. It's just so much of my unnecessary commentary.
We're going to need all of that.
No, because not only is it not funny and distracts from the views that you're watching, but the New York, the Sabrina Carpenter of it all is so high in effect. It is nutty.
I would argue that the resort guests pay for this type of content and to see how far you've come.
Oh, God.
Look, you are a confident improviser at this point. Look at where you started doing commentary on home videos. People need to see how far you've come.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And so I'm like, shut up, Frank. Shut up. Like, stop it. Stop talking. Why are you talking over this video?
Lewis is threatening to quit if you don't show it.
We'll think about it. I might have to vet each video that we think about in these scenarios. You have a video of me. You keep talking about, we talked about one video of me from the summer of 1992 that is in our garage. I mean, you're not involved. You're in bed sleeping, but I'm in the garage on my high school graduation night. I'm not saying, I was just probably really tired in the video, but reciting the Beauty and the Beast prologue.
You know what? And I think it may be on YouTube and it was unlisted.
Oh.
I'll have to bring it up again. I didn't go through the full thing. But we may have put it together, and then I don't know if we.
And then I was like, no.
Yeah. Not showing this.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
One of the things in the January 1992 video that I want to discuss is the Beauty and the Beast stage show, which at that time was not all the way down on Sunset Boulevard, but right on Hollywood Boulevard, a little off to the right, because there was no Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And one thing cracked me up about it, which was, remember when Disney shows, every show, they released birds that flew around and then flew back to where they called them.
Yeah.
We're like, how do they do that? Well, there's a little something back and someone blows a thing and they roll and they fly around. Like that was like, but in the castle, they did it all the time. In Beauty and the Beast, they did it 100 times a day. There were always birds flying everywhere in the Disney theme parks. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, we got to create an animal kingdom, and so we can't do birds anymore. I think they still do it in Animal Kingdom, though. They do it,
I was
right?
going to say, but they
go
do
around
it
the
in
tree.
Animal Kingdom.
They still do it there. Now that I say it out loud, and I'm like, oh, no, that's where it's happening. Thank God.
Yeah, I've totally been a part of that. I know that exists.
Thank God. I'm not asking to bring back the birds. That wasn't about this. But it was more bring back the... I've been to Animal Kingdom enough to know that there's birds.
I was actually, before you started burying yourself, I was like, yeah, so that must really, you love that at Animal Kingdom because it gives you that nostalgia. And then you're like, they don't do that anymore.
Maybe, I mean, and they don't do it at the studios in the Magic Kingdom anymore. That is what I meant. Edit.
Yeah. Sure.
But when looking at the studios, hashtag always MGM, you know, you're almost 3 years into the park being open. So you're like in pure, everything is gold at this point because Beauty and the Beast is a couple of months old. Everyone was blown away by the movie. You had this stage show happen quicker than anything else in the world. They were like, we got to get this going. Yeah. And when was the last time you saw the Beauty and the Beast stage show?
Maybe 1992.
So the kids have not seen it, right? The kids have not seen it at all.
And maybe I have seen it since then. There's a chance I have. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you when.
No, I mean, I told a 9-year-old about it a couple of months back, and she was like, there's a Beauty and the Beast show? And I was like, well... Yeah.
I did bring it up, I feel like, over the summer because I was like, hey, there's a villain show. And did you also know that there's a Beauty and the Beast show? there's no time. There's just not enough time in the day to sit and watch a show.
And I don't remember who was guesting at the time that we talked about this. And it always comes up of like, is the studios like Animal Kingdom a half-day park situation? And I was like, if you got the villain show, Indiana Jones, Beauty and the Beast, now Mermaid, which by the way also opened in January of 1992. We did not go on that. I remember not going on that trip because it was packed in that queue for years. You couldn't go to see that.
Always, yep.
So I think also why it was called Minute Maid, because we could never get into it and probably just ended up getting a drink every time after. So Voyage of the Little Mermaid, the villain show, Beauty and the Beast, Indiana Jones, Frozen sing-along. I mean, that's like a half day, right? I mean, that is a half day without going on a ride.
Yes, for sure.
But I feel like eventually I have to see that show again. I mean, it's like it's probably, am I about to say this? It's probably my favorite Disney animated film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, speaking of the years, these are the years of that big turning point again for Disney. And Beauty and the Beast especially, there was so much emphasis on the artwork of it all and the dancing ballroom scene where you see their reflection. There was so much around it. And I do feel like, I mean, I don't know if I recall more merch even for it than some of the others. I don't know. That might be just me being crazy and knowing that I bought a Belle Bobby doll, but I don't. But yeah, it's a big one.
I mean, it was the first feature length animated film to be nominated for Best Picture, so it had that natural momentum to it. It was a show I could never participate in when I was a cast member at the Disney MGM Studios due to certain height requirements. It was either too tall or too short.
Oh, interesting.
A little of both. A little of both.
I'm like thinking of all the roles, and I'm like, no, not that one.
Nope. And definitely for one, for one in particular, not thin enough, even though I was pretty skinny back then.
Interesting.
But
Winged Encounters. That's what it's called, is Winged Encounters.
I totally knew that, and it's actually what I called them when I saw them in the other parks many years ago. No.
Interesting. I have a side note random question since although you did not work in the parks in 1992,
Correct.
Since we're just in MGM right now.
Are we going anywhere else? We don't know.
Or who knows? I mean, I want to go to the beach club because of course. But if you were working in the parks in the type of day and age as there is now with the TikTok and the Instagram and all the things, where do you think you would fall in sharing your story about it all while also being a rule follower? Or would you just be like, I can never be on there because I don't want to get in trouble?
I don't think I would do the backstage stuff, right? I know that in particular you're caught in that algorithm a little bit more than me. I've seen a couple of things, and I'm just like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time. I mean, again, before cell phones are a thing. So this is we're talking 95 through 98 are my core years at the studios, and most of the time, if you were in a break room that had a TV, you were watching Jerry Springer. And if you weren't in a break room that had a TV, you were sound asleep for 24 minutes. And that's it. That's how it goes. And so I don't know. Do I also think I can only imagine how many videos there would have been of me doing things I would have gotten in trouble for, whether it was being in. I mean, granted, I didn't go as far over the line as other people did. Like, I never got on a friendship boat and went over to the Epcot resorts. Like, I never did that while I was on set. I mean, again, if I'm working closely in character entertainment, not once did I get on a friendship boat. even if I was like, well, that'd be really cool if I did that.
Yeah.
Now, did I take a picture of Mary Poppins and Bert in the Mary Poppins area of the Great Movie Ride, and so they were next to the animatronics, and run in between cars and do it? That's probably the craziest thing I ever did.
Right.
But I can only imagine the videos of me doing things in the middle of a set or a performance, as it were, that were probably, I would have loved to have seen some. I mean, and sometimes I go back and there's still once in a while someone will upload something and I'm like, I think that's me. I mean, you don't see me doing anything stupid, but I can recognize me sometimes, a couple of times anyway. Especially in a Toy Story parade. But, no one, I don't think anyone was taking video of Green Army men in the queue and scaring people when they went inside of the theater, or anything like that. I'm not saying that I did that, but those are examples I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's the more extreme stuff. I'm glad. Don't listen to me, TikTok. I don't want it back on my algorithm. I finally got off of that. But I do see plenty of cast members in general, and some of them are talking from their cars, like before or after a shift. And then some of them, you see them get into full costume and they're just doing like transition videos and all this. And then you see some that have like been fired for sharing things, even if they weren't wearing a name tag. But then like another person will be wearing their name tag. And I'm like, how is this allowed? I don't know. I don't understand all the rules about it. It sounds so complicated. But I also recall that because I think a lot of, because we're so old now, we can remember the times before cell phones and before the camera phones and all of that, because I remember working at the airline and that was an issue too, where people started taking pictures of things on board and then posting them on social media and being like, whoa, you can't do that. And it's like figuring out all those new rules that come with it. But now it's just so crazy that I don't know. I can't understand what the rules are anymore.
Nate making a great point with the Genie Macarena. Yeah, I mean, that's such a short window of time where that was probably happening. And for those of you who might want to see this on TikTok someday, that would go like this. The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. I can't. I don't want to get hit in case we post that on YouTube. So.
Oh yeah, the copyright.
Yeah, I don't do that.
And you were freezing a little bit during that, so it wouldn't work.
It's gone now. It's gone forever. But yeah, I wonder how many people. I mean, you saw it happen. Well, it was rumored allegedly at Epic, where so many people were posting things about Epic, and they were saying like it was hundreds of people being fired. Is it hundreds? I don't know, but I'm sure that it is a messy thing to manage. And I think a lot of what you're saying about what do people do and do not get in trouble, or like, oh, they have a name tag or it's not a name tag, they're kind of in uniform, a costume versus not. That is to me like, how far are they into the progressive discipline?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Maybe they're not as far along as others are.
Right. Yeah. How many times have they been called in for?
Yeah. So you want to talk about Beach Club. I want to see, why don't you start talking about Beach Club to see if I can share my screen on something that's not necessarily Beach Club related, but it's Epcot Resort area related.
I mean, and I know the Beach Club did not open in 1992, but that was like peak, once again, that August trip, I feel really set the stage for a lot of the big memories in my head, probably also because of my age by then. But, how we structure our vacations at this point are because of how they were structured at the Beach Club. Now, I eliminate any meetups because those are not the same type of structure. We don't have any structure during the meetups, and we just go. But typically, we really try to stick to that, like, morning in the parks, afternoon is a hangout, chill, pool, lunch type thing, and then we're back in the parks again. And for me, the Beach Club is really that, that's where I remember doing that type of format the most that like set the stage. And obviously we're at the quiet pool more than anything else. But I see that you're about to share your screen with some swan footage here.
Well, it'll be a little Epcot resort area footage that I think the folks at the resort will like seeing here, and then we'll try to decide if we can share what I'm about to show on YouTube at some point. But to add to that, I think that because so many of our early trips, especially at the Poly, were in either December or January or February, that it didn't lend to that necessarily. I think we still took a little break in the afternoon, or we went, okay, Kingdom morning, Epcot night, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was really that first summer at Grand Floridian too, which was not as a memorable trip as the Beach Club would become, that that we started kind of finding that rhythm. And I think maybe a little bit because of my age or my love of the studios, Beach Club for both of us became a little more about the independence and being able to go walk over to Epcot or take the boat over to the studios. So let me see what I can do here, if I can share this video, because I think it's fun. So I think this is an afternoon where I did walk around. Oh, and here's all the land where the Boardwalk Resort is now.
Which is just so crazy.
This entire green space, you just saw the Friendship boat go by, but this green area is all the boardwalk. That's closer to the ESPN Club side. And then it's moving a little bit more.
And it's just like, how deep are those trees? Where are you standing in that? Are you on the...
where I'm standing?
Yeah.
I think I'm up closer to like the Swan and Dolphin Bridge area, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're getting a full sweep of the area where the
So I was
boardwalk
like, you're not
would
at
be.
the boardwalk, and that looks like a boardwalk view.
Yeah, there's a boardwalk there, but you see Japan, you see Morocco, and then there's Ewok. And Jen, how do you feel about Ewoks at the studios?
I'm not scared of them. I just don't like them.
There it is. There's the quote. That's the quote there. So I wanted to share that as I shared the screen. But yeah, that was like an afternoon of pool time, walk through the lobby stuff for the AC greatness. Maybe you stop to get a chocolate shake at Beaches and Cream. But even then, that day, I walked over to the Dolphin because I wanted to see what it was like from the upper level, like take the elevator up to see what you saw out those windows. Because, back then there weren't towers everywhere.
Yeah.
You didn't have a Contemporary Tower and a Polynesian Tower and a Coronado Tower and a Riviera Tower. You got towers everywhere now.
Yeah.
But the Dolphin, you went to and go, whoa, I can see, all the way to the Contemporary from here. And really, I guess the Marriott World Center was really the other one, too, where you're like, oh, man, these views are awesome.
Yeah. Did we stay there in 1992?
I thought maybe I have to look up when it
no.
opened. I think that there was definitely a 95, like you went Christmas
95,
95.
yeah.
I have to see when it opened. I was trying to figure out where we stayed in January 92 because it wasn't clear to me in the video. And it could have been the Poly, but because the Poly's in it, but I was not completely clear of that.
And that was like just a quick weekend trip in 92?
So it's possible. But... And that was very Magic Kingdom heavy, too, which also surprised me about when I went through the videos today, because the other thing we can talk about, maybe, two things. One is there's a lot of Country Bear Jamboree footage from that summer. I was like, that is probably the only time, other than when it was rebooted and reopened in 2024, that we were on that attraction. So I was like, wow, this is a lot of Country Bear Jamboree footage. And I did too many close-ups because everything always looked dark in my camera ring. Yeah. So it's like close-up heavy. So that's why you don't see a lot of this footage, is because it's so close-up heavy.
Oh yeah. Anytime like, we have rides. Oh, you're not gonna see anything.
It didn't look like that on our small screen. But then you watch it on a big monitor and you're like, this is useless.
Yeah.
But in the summer of 1992, also a little attraction called Splash Mountain was in its trial run there, because it technically did not open to October 92. So we have video, and we have it in that playlist from January of 92 of them still working on Splash Mountain. But then you have part of the attraction. And in the summer of 1992, not the drop, because I didn't trust myself with my relatively new video camera, that I wouldn't drop it on the drop or break it or anything like that. Because I mean, that's how I was. And I wasn't good with new things that were of high cost.
Also, sticking with some dates, and this is a chat GPT is telling me this, so I need to confirm these things with you. Spectro opened on October 1st, 1991, so 1992 is like the first full year
Correct.
of Spectro,
Yes.
correct? Something I did not realize, Aladdin's Royal Caravan Parade started in 92?
It probably started, right? Yeah, it had to start. Yeah, and that's what I associate Aladdin a lot with 1993 because Lion King didn't come out to 94, so I feel like there's always this weird gap of 93. But yeah, Aladdin came out November of 92, so that is probably correct. Which I mean, again, that was the setup of just. Well, I guess technically there was the precursor of the dinosaurs, the TV show Dinosaurs had a little caravan, and then which was then replaced by the Aladdin Parade, which then became the Toy Story Parade, which then became the Hercules Parade, which then became the Mulan Parade before it went into Cavalcade Land, and with the old cars and different things in probably 99, right around there. But just a great run of studios appropriate parades. Yeah, started in 1992 because of that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Disney's Vacation Club. Is that where we stayed in? Oh, no.
No,
Well, maybe in January.
No,
92, but
I
maybe
think
that's
that was
too
later
soon.
too. Old Key West.
Later.
Yeah.
Now called Disney's Old Key West, had just opened in December 91, so 92 was the first full year. And Disney continued expanding its Valley Resort concept planning, but then it wouldn't open until 94. But I guess they were starting to introduce that they would be doing those things. The Big Pink 20 Magical Years Castle Cake wouldn't happen until 96. But the 20th anniversary overall was like starting in Magic Kingdom.
And I think there was in the January video, again, moving too fast, walking down Main Street, I get like a quick shot of the 20th anniversary balloons that had like the little multicolored neon-y looking stripes to it with the Mickey ears. And so I was like, "Ooh, the 20th anniversary logo!" Right before, it's very clear that a cast member, she was in the middle of Main Street selling, I don't know, something, and like makes eye contact with me like 3 times. I walk by, and I'm just being goofy me. You hear me going, "Hey, how you doing?" And she's like, "Hi," and me just keep going, not even paying attention. Don't talk to the girl, Frank. Just keep walking.
This is what people want to see. Release the footage.
Release the footage.
I could not find a ticket. I'm sure we have one somewhere, and I'll find it randomly as I do anything that we own somewhere around here. But a 1-day, 1-park Magic Kingdom ticket, according to this, what would you say it was?
All right. So I always kind of zone in on the 97, 98 ticket price, which was $45 or went up around that range at that time. So is it going to be $32.50?
$34.85. Yeah, that's crazy. That is so crazy. Also, I asked about Beach Club specific. So apparently it was about $148 a night, but someone else mentioned that maybe it was $123 a night. So probably in that range, which would make sense for the discount that sometimes we would get.
It makes sense. It's in the range. Yeah, and I think Papadillo sometimes has said that on the expensive side, Beach Club would go up to close to 2. You know, but which can you imagine?
Can you imagine just booking it constantly? Yeah, I mean, he also talks a lot about the $99 deal that sometimes we could get there. Like $99 for the Beach Club.
Oh yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. The Beach Club really defines that early 90s time period again, because everything seemed to be positively, organically growing in ways that
Mm-hmm.
fit our age range.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd be curious that someday there is, two siblings, in the year, 2050 or whatever, going, when Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge opened up in back-to-back years. That felt like, like, will people say that, like, someday? Like, we say these
I'm
things?
sure. I'm sure.
And that,
And we will
and when
be
people are,
crying.
meanwhile, social media was like, we are so angry about these things.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
Yeah.
like, no, you grew up, if you were born, we kind of have those kids, but if you hit at the right time for Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge and maybe even Epic Universe and go,
Mm-hmm.
hey, all of that happened in
Yeah.
this 6-year time period for me,
Yeah.
7-year time period.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, and it's also during a time where all these changes are happening, but because there's no social media, we don't know what permits have been started and what it might be, and we can all talk about it for a year before they actually make an
That's right.
announcement, and we could just go, "Oh, they're building a hotel. That's nice."
Yeah, and
Just go for it.
when the new nighttime parade, the Starlight Parade, is out now, which I would say is mixed reviews. I wouldn't say
Mm-hmm.
it's gushing for sure, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's hate oriented.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, that was our first time seeing SpectroMagic was in 1992. We would, just like we say, now is the time, now is the best time of our lives, is our Carousel of Progress song over A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. SpectroMagic, would you say, is our nighttime parade over Main Street Electrical Parade?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which sounds like such an insane thing.
Yeah.
and I'm sure if we said that to random, that would be a thing we would do, right? Like if we were really this bold, just go around. If we told you as a big Disney fan that SpectroMagic was greater than the Main Street Electrical Parade, are you crazy? Like we would get a lot of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's the timing, and it is a lot to do with the age, the timing, the what else was going on, and then how it just all creates the core memories.
Yeah, SpectroMagic really, to me, in some ways, what Splash Mountain did was up the, thrill ride game. You had Space Mountain and Thunder Mountain, but the drop of Splash was like, okay, I'm 17 years old in the summer of
Yeah.
1992. I need this in the Magic Kingdom. Otherwise, why am I coming to the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, for sure.
And, but I will say, as the Disney fan, as a teenager, SpectroMagic kept me coming to Magic Kingdom more, not Disney, but to the Magic Kingdom more because I wanted to see that night. I thought that parade was perfectly Disney, the opening fanfare, how it came down Main Street, the characters involved. It always captured my Disney spirit more than Main Street Electrical Parade.
Yeah. Lewis is saying we especially didn't hear reviews of something as simple as a theme park parade. Just, exactly.
Right. It was
It's a simpler time.
simpler times. And I think the daytime parade, the 3:00 parade, was the Mardi Gras parade at that time.
Yeah.
Which was, again, to me, it often was like, what kind of scenarios and costumes can we put Roger Rabbit in? That's often like what Disney parades became. In Spectro, he was playing before the genie, right? Before the genie was doing his thing in the SpectroMagic parade, it was Roger Rabbit. They replaced Roger Rabbit with the genie eventually for that portion of the parade. But yeah, Spectro was it for me for years. And again, I will say it. You've heard me say it as much as you've heard me say I have an MFA in dramaturgy and that I worked with Slinky Dog on Christmas Day in 1995. My biggest regret ever as a Disney cast member is that I never took an overtime shift after my daytime shift was over to go over to the Magic Kingdom and work in the SpectroMagic parade. And it was offered all the time. Anytime you wanted to go, you just, you need Spectro performers, just call the number. I never did it.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I had to have rehearsals and stuff. But a lot of times I just wanted to go home because I was tired and worked a breakfast shift. But that is probably something where, how did I not do it just one time? But I'm sure if we dive deep, is like, I would have been nervous about going over to a place I'm not familiar with. I haven't been over to the Utilidors in a while, and where's the costume shop and all those things.
I mean, yes, but also like you're in your 20s in college. And when you're in your 20s in college, you're not like, it would be really good because I'm going to regret this one day if I don't do it. You don't think like that
Right.
in your 20s and like do all of that. And also, maybe it's nice then to just have the memory as a fan and you didn't have to be in it and you could just look at it.
Right.
Because if you were in it, you would have seen something that you didn't like.
Right.
And it may have ruined it for you a little bit.
That's fair. And I say, because when I talk about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, people are like, at the first 2 years, I was kind of in the field. But the other several years, I was in a room across the street between talking to NBC and the starting line. And that's what I did for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for years, was I was kind of the go-between. And people are like, oh, is it not as fun? And I was like, no, it was the best thing ever to sit in that control room or the communications room and talk to two very important parts of one of the biggest events related to a holiday in a year.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. But, and to your point of the kids when they grow up kids in general, it'll be interesting to hear for those who have the real memories of it all that weren't on social media yet because they were too young for social media, but old enough to like remember the park's opening and like what their takeaways would be from that.
Yeah, I think that, and that's right. It's the same thing we talk about, like the Star Wars prequels, where there was a lot of hate for a long time, and then the whole generation grew up and was like, Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker is the greatest thing to ever happen to Star Wars, and you kind of like, I see it now. I can't believe I see it, but I see him come up in Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka, and I'm like, man, they really did this right. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? How is that? I know how I felt watching Attack of the Clones 5 times, waiting for something different to happen or something to change, and it never did. That was my life. So, yeah, and then just to kind of, I think, maybe bring home the 1992 element here, there's a lot of Citizens of Hollywood video that we have. And we have addressed this with different performers over the years. Whether we talk to Terry Ward, who a lot of fans know as Jack Diamond, but we knew him as the Great HP back then. And just really recording him doing the card tricks and the coin tricks and the ball routine and everything else. But there is basically, and we have a little bit of the footage on our YouTube channel if you go to our Disney Nostalgia playlist, that I would say, I wish I could have recorded it for every night that it ever happened. You basically got this would be a hot take, I guess, if you know performers really well, like the greatest collection of Citizens of Hollywood characters doing the 5 o'clock and later set. So basically starting at maybe their 5:20, the first set, up until Sorcery in the Sky, where, and it's flooded with characters. There's like a dozen maybe.
Yeah.
And all of them were like the top tier, like who you saw the most often. Louis Gravance was doing Shelby Mayer. Louis, who wrote the book Service is a Superpower. Get the book in all the places. It's such a great read because it combines great guest service and what was taught in traditions with Louis' experiences as a cast member. That there's one full night that basically we capture there, and it is, I feel like, and we talked to James Warda about it when we interviewed for the second book in the How Does Disney Do That series, that I feel like that is the definition of I want to do all of these things.
Oh, yeah.
There was one bit where the talent agent was teaching the girl off the bus singing lessons from the window. and she's terrible and she's terrible and she needs inspiration. And then she looks down and the other characters are kind of wrangling what we call an endowment character in the trade, who will be her inspiration. And then she sings Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine. And it's just such a perfect crafted bit that I stole it 3 months later and did it in a talent show in our hometown. But it is so well done, and then capped off right before Sorcery in the Sky with all the characters gathered in the center. And we talked to Louis a little bit about this, and it didn't even cross my mind until we talked to him about it, where it was a game they called Where You're From, and they know that it's Disney, so everyone is from all over the world, and it's a mirror and a memory exercise where you go around in a circle and you ask someone where they're from, and you come back and you replicate what they gave you, then you do it, and then you build on it all the way to the end. Now you got people from Japan and Mexico and Scotland and Tennessee and a lot of New Yorkers in that bit, Queens and Staten Island and everything. And it would be seen very different nowadays, I think. But so funny and so introduced all the characters perfectly, and they walked around the circle perfectly, right in character, and did everything that you knew about those extraordinary characters back then, and just how the people, it was so, I mean, a lot of people, were they hanging out because they knew the fireworks would happen? Yes, but they drew that crowd towards them. They weren't hanging out on the sidewalks and sitting down and waiting. No, they had a massive crowd around them, and it was one of those things where they capped off the night perfectly. And if you go, I think it's still, there's a couple of videos out there. If you look up Where You're From, Citizens of Hollywood, you'll find it. You'll find other videos of it over the years. But from beginning to end, from the start of their shift probably to the end of the night, like, that is what you wanted to see at the front of the studios all the time.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. You also stole that one a little bit.
Which one? Where You're From? Well, the memory exercise.
Yeah.
Well, the memory. I mean, that was a lot of what they did, right? The first bit I ever did with Citizens of Hollywood was a memory exercise, but that was also that one doesn't work as well in upstate New York when people are usually from the same 5 cities. Let's just say that.
That's true. But more videos that you have to put on the resort of you doing just the names of everybody.
Oh, I should do that. I'll probably set up those links as discussed. I mean, from your vantage point, Jen, just as a wrapping things up on that, what do you remember? Like, what was your takeaway of Citizens of Hollywood as a 10-year-old?
I mean, it's there's like these weird a part of like the Disney feels for me in memories back then. Like there's a being really tired leaving the Magic Kingdom when I was like little and being like half asleep probably. Sometimes DIllo carrying me up that, ramp to the monorail and all of that. And just that air conditioning from the room, but you had like a really long day and it's all awesome and like just that feel. And I feel like that is a similar feeling in my memory bank to Citizens of Hollywood at the studios later on, where, again, it probably speaks a little bit to the independence we were having of going into the parks by ourselves. Sometimes we would go ahead of Mama and DIllo so we could see that 5 o'clock set. But, knowing that you were going into that park and boom, you're part of the show. Like, there's a show happening all around you. You are in Hollywood. You are in old Hollywood. And it's constant performances and movies, and there's just so much happening in every area of the park. And so right away you're in it, and when you're leaving you can still see shows happening right in front of you. You're not waiting on a line to see it, and it's just these talented people making everybody laugh, making everyone a part of it, bringing people in. And the fact that we're still waiting for them to come back drives me crazy. But for me, with hashtag always MGM, it's so hard to see the changes, even though I'm fine with some of them over the years. And I love Galaxy's Edge and I love Toy Story Land. But those 90s vibes in the studios with Citizens of Hollywood and the Great Movie Ride and everything is just bringing you into that world. I miss it. But, for me, it lives in my Disney Feels memory bank.
Yeah, even on the video that we had, there was some, for a while, the Soundstage Restaurant, which is where I talked about working with the Genie a lot on character dining and where the Macarena took place. That year, prior to that, it was like Touchstone movies that would recreate the sets in that restaurant. And really with Beauty and the Beast is the first time they kind of transformed that into character dining. There was like a Beauty and the Beast, Belle and Beast meet and greet there, and the staircase, and they enhanced it way more when Beauty and the Beast came out. But even that, just seeing that, and not the time I worked there. I mean, it's 3 years away from me doing, which is also crazy to go, it's 3 years away from doing character breakfast here.
Yeah.
What? It's crazy to me. And then now it's 30 years later than when I started. I started in 1995, and here I am. But to go, man, I know Disney Junior, is a thing, and it brings people in, and I get it, but it's such a cool thing to have a character dining right there and have it been based on the movie that was currently happening. It was felt fresh and relevant and of the time. And I think that is, you see where it happens, as much as, the American Idol show where Superstar Television was. It didn't, American Idol didn't just replace that, but there's other things in between. But American Idol just missed the peak American Idol time. Yeah. So that's why I couldn't stay. It just didn't, it was too late. And then with the Frozen sing-along, you still feel like that, this is kind of classic Studios a little bit. And when you see these other things on our video, again, there was an extended version of the Muppets fountain on that video, and just like, this is it, this is the video. And I'm looking at pictures of the whole thing bulldozed and where the Monsters coaster is going to be. But Jeffers, just to wrap it up, Jeffers is saying here that he has seen me do the memory exercise name game thing at the Sterling Renaissance Festival. Does he get a badge for that as a resort guest? And
I think so. I think that
we would
deserves
probably
a badge.
allow that. And Jeffers, did you see me break the record, which was 51 people? I always I'm under the clock, but 51 is my record of I can memorize 51 names in a row.
That video that I just sent you the link of before we went up over the summer, I think that's the one he was there for.
Yeah, he might have been there for that one. But he was there. But he was there then the year you didn't go either. And on that stage, I did a lot. The one that's on YouTube has 50, and what the year Jeffers was there without you is the year I didn't think. I mean, I'm older now. I didn't think I was gonna get to 51. I'm gonna be 51. But
pretty soon.
Here we are. It's almost October. So to say why 1992 was such a pivotal year for us, I mean, I think we could go on and we could add other things. You've heard us talk about them before. But there were so many things that were of the time, in the moment. And I think you can connect them to kids who experience Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land and Avatar. I'll throw in an Animal Kingdom one there as well. Sure. And Pandora. I think you look at that 2017 to 2019 period, and you're getting Pandora, Toy Story Land, and Galaxy's Edge. I mean, that's what it was for us back then, where we were getting studios, Typhoon Lagoon, Pleasure Island to an extent, even though we weren't going there yet, and these resorts that were incredible. Beach Club, Yacht Club, Dolphin and Swan, the Boardwalk a couple of years later. But the things that we didn't stay at Port Orleans, but Port Orleans was in that mix. And that was, with that Disney animated movie renaissance. It was just a perfect storm of Disney fandom and really, as much as I say that 89 when studios opened made sure I was still a Disney fan rather than giving it up because it's too kiddie or something like that.
Yeah.
That whole period of time really made us bigger fans, but I'm sure a lot of other people out there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Jeffers dropping in here right at the end that 1992, the Toronto Blue Jays first win the World Series. I will say this before we go. At the end of the August 1992 home video we have, there are two things. The first thing is the Murphy Brown episode after she had the baby. Da, 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 the original da 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 da. So, which is, I'm like, oh my God, this is the whole episode of Murphy Brown, which is hilarious. And then Jeffers, right after that, is when, and I must have went like, I got to record this. I was like, like Papa Dillo will want to watch this in the morning because he's in bed. It is the Atlanta Braves are losing 3-0 in the bottom of the ninth of 2-0 in the bottom of the ninth of the last game of the series, championship series, National League, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they come back and score 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. As Sid Bream slides into home base, like it's just home plate. It's just that people go insane. And at the time, Atlanta was like the hot team. They were the hot newness, as Dave would say. And, the last graphic, though, because I was like, wait, who won the World Series this year? The Braves didn't win the World Series this year. And the last graphic is, game 1, Toronto versus Atlanta, Saturday at 8 p.m. or whatever. And I was like, this is the start of the Toronto winning back-to-back. So thanks for bringing that up, Jeffers, because that was part of my video watching earlier. As an airplane flies very low into LaGuardia Airport over my head right now.
Sure.
Jen, anything else to add before we go?
I don't think so. I think maybe we'll see if we dig anything up I got to see what VHS tapes I have here too, see if there's anything else we can put up. I feel like we need a 92 playlist on YouTube since we talk about it so much. So we'll have to see what we really have. But
we are in the planning stages, continuing of the meetup that is happening November 7th and 8th. The Very Merry Christmas Party on November 7th and the Jollywood Nights on November 8th. That's the first night for both. We're working on what we're wearing at this point. We did book the flights that we haven't mentioned since we talked to Craig. So that is all set up. That means we're going, which we never know.
It's happening.
It's happening. And that is all exciting. So feel free. I will say, Jeffers has some extra spots open for the Beacon Barrel prior to the Very Merry Christmas Party. So if you're interested,
if anyone wants to join us,
if you'd like to join us at the Beacon Barrel around the 5 o'clock hour, please do so, because Jen and I need to see new things. Now, Jen and I also, remember I was going to end the episode, but Jen and I, have been joking about whether we were going to do an Epcot day on Thursday. And by joking, I mean, I think I'm joking, and Jen's like, we're not doing that.
I'm like, yeah.
But I will say, the spiral that happens because of that, where I then started, because I was watching the SpectroMagic video, and I was like, but if I got a park hopper on that Thursday, then instead of going to GO82, I could go see the Starlight Parade at the end. Just shut it down, Frank. Shut the whole thing down.
You're not going to go to GO82. You're going to go to Epcot. You're going to buy a ticket to Epcot and not go to GO82?
Right. I mean, I know what you're saying. But it's early. But it's still earlier in the day. I could still go over and see the parade. Meanwhile, Jeffers is gonna get an annual pass if we keep talking like this at this rate.
That's true.
So no. So right now, no, we're not going to Epcot yet on that Thursday. We need to find some money. Let's put it that way. And we'll take that opportunity to go find some money and wrap up this episode of Theme Park Thursday officially. Thanks for listening. As always, we'll be back again next week. Until next time, she's Jen. I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces. The Dillo's Diz podcast is hosted by Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder. Music produced by Matt Harvey. Logos and video production courtesy of Snydillo Studios. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon with tiers starting as low as $1 per month. You can visit dillosdizresort.com to learn more. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X Twitter, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Check us out on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/DillosDiz. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. We also have merch available on TeePublic and Etsy. For all this and more, visit our one-stop shop, dillosdiz.com. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2025.